Hey everyone, welcome to today's class. In today's class, we're going to look into HTML quotation and citation elements, such as block quote elements, Q elements, abbr elements, address elements, cite elements, BDO element, and so on and so forth. In our last class, we talked about attributes, HTML attributes, and we looked into a few. We looked into what attributes means. Attributes gives more meaning or functionality or adds more behavior to an element, right? So we looked into a element which has an attribute known as href, right? And then we added target attributes to it. We also looked at image element, which has source attribute and what alternate attribute, right? Now, today's class, we're going to also look into more attributes because this citation and quotation element, they also have attributes, right? If you haven't seen our last class, please go back and watch that video. It is very important that if you are coming across our page or YouTube channel for the first time, you are welcome to Codewithkhrist. This channel and page is dedicated in teaching web development from scratch for free. So whether you're a total beginner or someone looking to learn, sharpen your skill in web development, this channel is the right channel for you. So I urge you to subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified, and also follow us on Facebook and TikTok at the same handle, Codewithkhrist. All right, so now we're going to start today's class, and we're going to start by creating a new file. Remember, I said don't be afraid to create files and all of that. So we're going to create a new file for today's class. Okay, so I can call it quotation.html, right? Quotation.html, right? So now let's bring out a HTML skeleton, right? So now I can name it, I can give it a title HTML quotation and citation elements. All right. So now the first element we are going to look into is block quote elements. Now, the HTML block quote element defines a section that is quoted from another source. Browsers usually indent HTML element. Just this element is usually used to what? To reference, a quote or a short write-up that is gotten from another source, maybe another website and all of that, right? So, and then this is very important because the browser usually indents block quote elements, right? So let's take for instance, I go to a website. Let's take for instance, I go to this website and I copy this. Okay, this is an article about cancer and the rest of them. Cancer is a large group of disease that can start in almost any organ or tissue of the body when abnormal cells grow uncontrollably. So maybe I can copy this this section, right? And I then go to my code, I paste this, right? Okay, I paste this. Now there is an attribute known as what? Cite. Now this cite attribute is stating that where did you copy this short quotation from, the URL, the destination you copied it from. That is just kind of referencing where you got that particular information, just like giving them credit, because browser usually indent block quote elements, right? So now I can just go back to this particular and copy the URL, right? The URL from World Health Organization, right? And paste. So this shows that I got this particular information or quotes from World Health Organization, from their website, right? So that is it. And then another element we're going to look into now, Q element or tag. The HTML Q element or tag defines a short quotation, just a short quotation, right? Okay, first of all, let me run this in our browser. Let me run this in our browser. All right, so you can see now, let me remove this. All right, so you can see that particular information we got from World Health Organization. You can see cancer is a large group of disease that can start, and all of that and all of that. So now browsers has rendered this to, that's indented this particular element to show that yes, this particular quotation is gotten from another source, not from my particular, not, is not kind of unique, right? It was lifted, right? It was lifted exactly word by word from another source, right? So this is very important because you give credit to a particular website, or a particular place you got an information from, using it word by word, because this is exactly how it is used. Because if in normal terms it is plagiarism, right? You copied it exactly from another source, right? So it's not that I copied this and then try to modify it, add my own to make it kind of different from exactly what it, but this is exactly what is in the website. This is exactly part of the sentence that is in the website, right? So that is what it means. So now the next is q element or tag. So the HTML q tag defines a short quotation, and browsers normally insert quotation marks around that particular quotation. You get, so any text that is inside a quotation element, q element, browser normally insert quotation mark around it. So let's take for instance, I say I love coding. So in my browser, okay, it's still loading. I love coding. You can see there is a quotation mark, right? Let me increase, yeah, I think 150 is okay. You can see there's a quotation mark, I love coding, around this particular code. So it shows that it is a quotation, right? It is used to define a short quotation. Coding is fun. Okay, so it's still loading. Yeah, coding is fun, right? I have a question. What type of element is this, right? Is it inline element or block level element? So drop it down at the comment section. All right, so now next element we're going to look into is abbr element. Now abbr, it means abbreviation. The HTML abbr element is used for abbreviation. The HTML abbr tag defines an abbreviation or acronym like HTML, Mr., Doctor, ASAP, ATM, CSS, and all of that. Marking abbreviation can give useful information to browser. Remember, and translation systems and search engine. So marking an abbreviated word is quite important, right? So now let's take for instance we have a block level element, and then I can have the, and then inside it I have the abbr tag. Remember, right? And block level element can have other elements, right? So and now this abbr tag, it has a must attribute known as title. This title shows that abbreviated word the full meaning of that abbreviated word, right? So it just giving us a clear understanding of that abbreviated word, and somehow the browser usually makes it possible that when you hover on that particular abbreviated word, because of this title, it will show the full meaning of that particular word. So let's take, for instance, I have the inside this abbreviation, I have who, WHO. Okay, I can say was founded in 19 let's say 1948, right? So in my browser, okay, still loading. All right, so you can see the WOH was found in 1948, right? This shows that it is an abbreviation, right? So now inside that title, which is an attribute, I can now, give the full meaning of that who that we wrote, which is World Health Organization. So World Health Organization, right? So that is it for, abbr elements, right? So if I go back to my browser, whenever I hover on this, okay, let me refresh. Whenever I hover on this, you find out that I see WHO, World Health Organization, the full meaning. So this helps, users to understand, okay, sometimes a user can be going through a website and then they get to see an abbreviated word but don't really know the meaning. So this actually makes it easy for a user to actually find out the meaning of a particular word and a particular abbreviated word, right? So that is it for abbr elements. So now the next element we have, or we can look into, is address element. Now, the HTML address element or tag defines the contact information of the author, owner of a document or an article, right? The contact information can be email address, URL, physical address, phone number, social media handle, etc. The text in the address element usually renders in italic, and browser will always add a line break before and after the address element, right? So address element is used for contact information of the owner of a website, author, owner of a document, and all of that. So let's take, for instance, I have written by Codewithkhrist, right? Written by Codewithkhrist, right? This is one of the line. Let me refresh. Right, written by Codewithkhrist. You can see that it is in italic form, right? So now I have a break. Let's have a break tag, which is used to break an element to the next line or break a text to the next line. So now I have dot code with Christ.com, maybe email. You can add maybe email, then let's say code with Chris at gmail.com, Okay, so after that I have another break, too much contact information. Then I can have maybe phone. Okay, so I can have let's say +22, just a random number, and then add a break. Okay, okay, a break. Then I can have maybe the address, box 26 in Newland. Then a break, USA. So just pretty much address, contact information of a particular website and all of that, or owner of a document and all of that. So now you can see, written by Chris Pro. Visit us at this email, this phone, this, and then box 24 Newland, USA. So this is a contact information, right? So address element is used for contact information. Next we have cite. Just like we use cite as an attribute, some attributes can also function as an element, and when they function as an element or attribute, their work is different, right? Their work is very different, right? So for cite elements, the HTML cite element or tag defines a title of a creative work like a book, a poem, a song, a painting, and all of that. Um, so the text inside the cite element usually also renders as what? As an in italic form. All right. So let's take, for instance, let me have it inside the p tag. Okay. So I have this, and then I have cite element. Okay, I have cite elements. So let's take, for instance, is used for title of a creative work and all of that. Let's say the screen, and then written by Krish, right? So in my browser, I have the screen written by, okay, let me refresh, written by Chris. You can see the screen is in italic form, right? So now the next element we are going to look into is BDO. BDO. It means bidirectional override, right? It is used to override a text. Is used to override the text. HTML tag is used to override the current text direction, right? So let's take, for instance, I have you know I love coding, and then it has an attribute by default known as dir, which means direction, right? So I can choose the direction, whether rightly or leftly. So this rtl means rightly, so leftly is the other way around. All right, of course the opposite. So now you can see that I love um I love coding has been override to from right to left, right? This is from right to left, whilst the normal one should be left, which means from left to right, LTR, which will give us law of coding, right? So that is it for today's class. I hope you learned something. If you have missed any class, please go back and watch it. And if you have any question, you are stuck in one place, please make sure you drop it down at the comment section. Right, we are here to attend to you. All right, so, and if you are coming across our page for the first time, please follow, comment, like, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.